Hello, probably already know me. My name is Lewis Fulton, and this is Echoes and Insight. This is a media podcast where I plan to take as many musicians, artists, screenwriters, actors, as many creative-minded people as I can, and interview them basically as to why they do what they do and what's inspired them to do what they do. Today, I'm joined with Rhys Turner, a guitarist, vocalist who I went to college with in Lincoln when I was a couple of years younger than what I am now. In college, he formed a band with a couple of friends called the Winslows, who gained quite a lot of social media attention, quite a lot of attention from people such as the BBC. But yeah, I wanted to sit down with Rhys today, talk to him about his new projects that he's got coming up more importantly, and just a bit of his personal history and insight to the Winslows himself as a band. So thank you very much for clicking on this podcast. If you really enjoyed, hit like, hit subscribe, all that normal bollocks that you do on YouTube, do you know what I mean? But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy, because I had a pleasure talking to Rhys. Just a bit of a warning, Rhys's audio is considerably quieter than mine in this podcast episode. This is the first episode that I've tried to record. We were on a fucking WhatsApp call, so it's not perfect. Give me a while just to iron out all the creases, but yeah, I hope you enjoy. There we go. Right, hello Rhys.
Northern Lewis.
How are we doing?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Well, thank you for coming on today. This is the pilot episode, as you'll probably hear in the intro. This will sound scuffed as fuck, but we're gonna do our best. So just a little bit of backstory as to why I've brought you in. Obviously, we've spoke behind the scenes and stuff like that. Me and Rhys went to college together when I think I was 16, 17, in Lincoln. And yous formed a band called the Winslows out of a couple of lads that were in our class in college, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So obviously I've just kind of touched on it then, but if you could give me like your side as to how you guys kind of got together and how you kind of figured out all of you gelled off each other the way you did. How did you form the Winslows?
Yeah. Well, like you said, we all met in college. I mean, there's been multiple variations of the band throughout the 2-year, 3-year span that we were together. But the first version, I suppose, was I was in a class in college. It weren't going my way, and I ended up walking out in a strop, basically, being a teenager. Went into one of the rehearsal rooms and started twiddling about on the piano. And then one of our old tutors came in. I can't remember her name now for the life of me. But Leanne, that was it. Yeah, Leanne, and she was an angel, man. But she came in and told me I'd cheer myself up if I went and played some music with people, and I told her to do one. I was like, whatever, no, I'm not in the mood, whatever. And then we left, we were walking through the hall, and she shoved me into this room and then locked the door behind her. And in this room was 3 lads, and that was Tane Reeve, Ewan Rainbow, and Nathan Lilly. And then they said to me, what do you play, whatever. I said, I don't know, a bit of keys, a bit of guitar. They said, can you play Don't Let Me Down by the Beatles? And then I started twiddling out on the keys for that. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started. Then we got a drummer, and that was Joe Kelly, who also was in my year in college. And yeah, it kind of just spurted off from there, I suppose.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, from what I've heard, and from obviously I'm going to play some music throughout the duration of this podcast. The reason that I got you in to speak to you was, like I've said to you before, I still listen to that music now, just daily listening. So if you were to describe the sound of the Winslows to somebody who've never heard you before, what would you say? I know it's a really generic media question.
No. It's stuff I've not really thought about. I'd say there's a lot of music out there, right, at the minute, and for the past 5-6-ish years, there's been kind of this big indie revival, and a lot of it is really clean and compressed and, I don't know, polished, and it's made to look perfect. And I've never ever believed in that, and I managed to find a group of lads that also didn't believe in that. So I think what we went for was dirty indie, kind of from the 2000s, like the Libertines, like the Strokes, like the gods of fucking music and stuff. You know what I mean? So that was inspiration. I'm not sure if it ever ended up sounding anything like that, but there
Well,
you go.
one of the main things I'd definitely say about you as a band is you have a very unique sound. That song, "The Arbitoire," is one of my favourite tracks, and I'll play a snippet of that now. That's just for me. That's just I'm a massive indie head. I love like my classic rock and those kind of subgenres of music. But that to me was like, when I listened to it, just as a consumer, somebody who listened to your music, that was so many different factors and genres mixed into the one track. That honestly, that's one of my favorite songs, regardless of like it was used or not. I'm not trying to like feed your ego with that, but honestly, I think it's a tune. I thought it was
Yeah,
an absolute tune.
yeah. That one was one of my favourites, I think, to play live more than anything. I don't think any of us ended up being quite happy with the recording of it. It almost sounds like a demo kind of recording.
To be fair, I've not heard you like play it live. I've only seen the recording that he's put out, and that to me is fucking brilliant. So you must have smashed it if he's played it live. To be fair, definitely. Speaking of live shows, how did the introducing introducing BBC Lincolnshire? How did that come about?
That was like any artist at the minute. If you want to get any sort of exposure on your music, you get the track, you get the file, you upload it onto BBC Introducing, and they kind of put it in your region for you. So like East Midlands, obviously is our one, and that's like Lincoln, Derby, Nottingham, all of that jazz around here. And we kept putting tracks in, and they kept getting picked up. And then Dean Jackson, who is the god of all gods when it comes to, I know, in my head, like, he's just a fucking legend, really. But he picked up the track Shalala, and said he loved it, and he loved it so much that he wanted us to come in for an interview about the song. So we did, and yeah, he was talking. I mean, he kept saying about, so like the song reminded him of like Lee Mathers of the Lars, which is like my hero as well, which kind of boosted my ego a little bit. And then he said, "What can I do for you?" You know, and we said gigs. We just want gigs. You know, get us some push. So he gave us that introducing gig, and then he gave us one in the Metronome as well in Notts.
That was shortly after, wasn't it? Because I think I remember seeing on your socials after you did the BBC gig, you were really pushing for that one as well.
Yeah. That was amazing, that one. I think we were all wearing like suit and tie and stuff like that, and it was off a rocker and all that. So
is that when you all had the white shirt, black tie, and Rhys had a black shirt and a white tie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put a photo in because you look cool as fuck on that gig. You really did. You look awesome. Man.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of. It's all kind of a bit of a blur now because it's. I think it's coming on to like nearly a year ago now. We stopped gigging. It's probably a lot less than that. It feels about a year ago, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different. I mean, I've probably got that all in completely wrong order, you know. But yeah, I mean, Dean was really a big push for us, and he probably could have pushed it a lot further as well, I think. But yeah, man, yeah, he was basically Dean Jackson. You've got to give credit for us doing them.
Yeah, well, fantastic at all. Obviously, you mentioned that you've stopped gigging and you've broke up. That's obviously not what I want to talk to you about today. I wanted to talk to you solely about like your creative side of the band, because I think I've listened to somebody who's listened to your solo stuff and saw just a little bit as to how you performed and wrote music and in college when we were there. I've correct me if I'm wrong, I might be completely wrong, but the way it comes across to me is a lot of your songwriting is and the way that you write music was portrayed in the Winslows quite heavily. I don't know, I could be wrong. So what I wanted to ask you was, how did you approach writing a song as a band? Were you the kind of main pusher on writing, or like writing riffs, or like how did you go about it?
Well, I mean, every song's different, right? Like, no matter what group you're in, it can always, well, for me anyway, it can always come in different ways. And the main thing is that if I bring in an idea, no matter how good it is, it's going to come out completely different.
Yeah.
It's still what I put in. So to say I come up with the songs and the ideas isn't. I mean, it's right in terms of I'll have a song back then anyway. I'll have a song, I'll play it, we'll go through what we think it needs, and then we'll go home for a week, listen to it, and come up with different ideas. And
Yeah, because everybody takes it and does their own thing with it, and then you come back at the end of the week and kind of put all those ideas together.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that was how it ended up being, really. But to say I'm the sole songwriter, I mean, of the Winslows, yeah, I was the sole songwriter. They were my songs, but I'm not even sure if they're credited as that on Spotify and all that, because in my eyes they're not.
Well, yeah, if you were working as a collective, you label it as a collective piece of work. That's fair enough, and that says a lot about you as an artist to say, do you know what, these are my songs, but we played them together. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I come up with the initial push, I think, and it kind of rose along.
Yeah, because if you take it, did you write Shalala? Did you write the lyrics for that track?
Yeah.
So, just speaking fundamentally, if you'd have taken that track and worked on it yourself and not taken it to the Winslows, and in comparison to taking that track to the other members of the band, it would have came out completely differently.
Oh yeah, it would have ended up being some sort of folky song, like a Bob Dylan kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's great. What was there ever moments where like moments of creative tension where you just didn't gel off each other, or you just had ideas that didn't go the right way, or?
Yeah, always. I think there is with any musical group, any good musical group. Anyway, there's got to be a bit of friction.
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes to personal things, with each other. Put any four lads in a room together, and I promise you there'll be a fucking argument.
Yes, yeah.
But when it came to the music, we took it very, very seriously, even though it might not seem like it to other people. It was a very, very serious thing for all of us.
I'd say from the music that you've recorded, the music that I've heard, and the music that you've performed live, I think it's pretty obvious to a blind man that you took it seriously, especially all the stuff on social media as well, because you've really pushed it on Instagram and stuff. That's where I kept up with you. But I think that did a lot for you, especially in Lincoln. So what I was going to ask you as well was there any kind of influence as Lincoln as a city to how you wrote your music? Because I asked that question now that I've moved back to Glasgow and being a Scottish guy living in Glasgow. When I feel creative, there's a lot of just being in that place that I just kind of take bits out of. So was there any kind of influence, obviously even if it was something as simple as you go and you took photos at a certain place or anything like that, just to do with Lincoln, because obviously that's where the band came from.
Yeah, I mean, I can only talk with regards to me about that. Certain songs come from certain places, certain imagery. I mean, in that song Shalala, it talks about jumping off of Lucy Tower, which is a big multi car park on the Brayford. Bits and bobs like that. I think. I mean, with every band, you either get two kinds of bands, where you're either really proud of where you come from, i.e. fucking all the Manchester bands, things like that. It's all kind of worn on the sleeve.
Yeah. Or
you get people who, you get that the odd band where you go, I didn't know they were from there. They don't publicise it.
Yeah.
And I think you either go one of two ways, because at the end of the day it's about the music, but it comes with the image where you're from and that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my reason.
I think we did want to kind of pride ourselves on being from Lincoln, because there is absolutely sod all.
Well, that is exactly what I was about to say. The reason I asked that question is because people ask me where I was born and I say Lincoln and they go, where? Do you know what I mean? There's not a lot that's ever came out of Lincoln as a city, because it is a city. It's a postage stamp of a city, in my opinion, but it's still a city. But yeah, that's great. And that's something that especially people from Lincoln would take home. The fact that you pride yourself from being such a small place, compared to your cities like Manchester, Liverpool, all the rest of it, I feel like it'd be a lot easier and a lot quicker for bands to gain a publicity, especially when you say like the likes of the Mancunian bands that wear it on their sleeve, and that's like the whole thing. But yeah, that's great. Honestly, that's fantastic. Just a question about like you solo, nothing to do with the Winslows. This could be a great question. This could be the worst question I've asked you so far. But what inspires you musically?
Just me. Yeah.
Just you.
Um,
If you can answer for the Winslows as well afterwards, definitely do. But I want to hear from just your side of things.
For me, I think if we talk about like inspiration, I'm not going to do that thing where you fucking pick off different artists and stuff, because there's so many, you know.
Yeah.
So many great people out there, and every good name's been said, you know. So I think for me, I used to quite like when I used to write songs. I started off writing songs about people, about specific people. So it'd be one song about one person, you know, next song about another. Songs always end up being about girls or trouble at home. And then I started writing songs about other things, wider things, you know, drugs and going out. And that comes with getting older and, you know, different social settings and stuff. But now I try and write songs on a wider scale about bigger things, bigger problems, things that I'm facing, things I'm not facing, completely made up situations. And I think day to day I get inspiration from different stuff. I mean, I do labour at the minute.
Yeah.
It's dog, it pays the bills. And I find myself fucking drilling in decking like I was today, and you know, you hear something on the radio and kind of inspires you, but you don't know what it is. It's some weird pop song from the 80s. But I like to think, it sounds dead pretentious, but I like to think everything kind of inspires me.
That's that, especially saying with the likes of going to work and doing stuff like labouring, which is completely and utterly completely disconnected from completely disconnected from music and anything creative, really. But yeah, I think that's I don't think that's pretentious at all. I think that's that speaks wonders for you as an artist and a songwriter. For you to take things as shit as like laying bricks or drilling or whatever and take that home, even if it is something that you hear on the radio and it sticks with you for a couple of days. That's great. What do you like outside of music? What do you do? Anything else like to stay creatively inclined? Like, do you write like anything that's not like music? Do you take photographs or anything like
that? Yeah, well, I mean, I've got back into painting. I used to do painting a lot. That's how I started doing the arts.
Yeah.
But you know, I was doing painting at school, and then
that really surprises me. Actually, I thought you'd have defo started at school with an acoustic guitar, learning how to play like.
No, like... I mean, I did play music at school, but just on my own. You know, like I was kind of the only one, really. I mean, there was others. Do you know what I mean? At school, but like I'd always find myself playing on my own. But art was my thing in school. I was really into art and drawing. I think I was really into it because I picked up the guitar quite early. Like, you know, people say they've been playing for years and they can only play a couple of chords and stuff. I not to bloom and trumpet, but I managed to pick it up fairly early.
Yeah.
So I kind of got bored of it really quickly. And with art, ask anyone, I'm shit at it. You know, I'm really bad at it, which is why I love doing it, and it fascinates me because it frustrates me. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever used a paintbrush outside of an art class when I do my own art, and just use my hands and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I do. I take the odd photograph. I mean, I can't work a camera. Like to save my life, I do it on my phone. You know.
Well, half of the phone cameras are better than cameras anyway. To be fair.
I do like to think I do all this stuff. I mean, I write a bit of poetry, but that's just lyrics to me, but I don't really think of them as poetry.
Well, I think it's however you want to interpret it. It's your own writing, I suppose. Like I there's been times I know that I've tried to write. Obviously, I don't do a lot of songwriting now. More, for me, it's more the film kind of side of things and photography. But I used to write lyrics, and you'd like you say you'd sit on it for a week, and you'd come back and go, do you know what? That's actually not a song. That'd be quite a good poem or a stanza or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I think that just shows there's no right or wrong in the arts, as you put it. Do you know what I mean? There's There's no good or bad unless it's Yoko Ono, in my opinion. But that's about it. But yeah, talk to me about the Faith Estate. What have you been doing? Who's involved? What's coming up? What have we got to look forward to?
Right. So the Faith Estate is my band now, and it's me, it's TJ, who is the lead guitarist
Yep.
from the Winslows, who you know, obviously. It is Harry Moores on drums, just the most incredible jazz drummer, like the most technically gifted musician just ever. You know, like, and we stumbled across him and then asked him for a pint and got pissed up on a weekday with him, and you know, we didn't even hear him play before this. We just saw pictures and we said, yeah, that's it, he's in the band. And then he turned up to a rehearsal and he just happens to be the best fucking musician I've ever met, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
It's Harry Moores, Henry Denny on bass, who we've been talking to for a year or so. He's been coming he's a big fan of the band, the old band. And I kind of been tutoring him with songwriting and stuff and going to his and jamming, and he said, fuck it, you know, we need a bass player, come join the band. So he's in the band, and then Charlie Harris on the keys. He's shot the fuck out of everyone, I think, to be honest, because I'm not sure if you know Charlie.
I follow him on Instagram, and he's a very talented guitarist. I've seen him play guitar. I didn't realize he was on keys. That surprised me. You said that.
No,
to be fair.
Exactly. So this was the thing, is that I know for a fact, you know, he does all the metal and stuff in his metal band, and he does odds and sods with other people. But I knew that he's not just a guitar. You know, he's not just flashy as fuck on the guitar. I know.
Yeah, he's a musician.
Inclined as well. And I thought, you know, he's the perfect guy to have to show off. You know what I mean? But he really, I think he really shines through the little bits of music. You know, even playing chords in time on a keyboard adds a lot. You know.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely.
The guy can fucking play for days. You know, so I think altogether we're really finding our feet at the minute, and we've got a headline cut. I'm not sure when this is supposed to be coming out, but we've got a headline on the 23rd of this month at Southside, which is where I am now, and it's going to be good. It's going to be really good, and we're just sorting out our set. Our first single is being mastered as we speak right now in the next room.
Nice.
It's called Heaven, and it is boss, man. It's really good. I think we're all really fucking chuffed with how it's come out. And yeah, it's going to blow everyone's socks off, hopefully.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I definitely I've been looking forward to hearing the music. Obviously, just from me being a fucking dialed Winslows fan, to be fair. But yeah, fantastic. So that kind of ties into what I was going to ask you. So obviously that you said that single's coming out. Are there any other projects that you're working on as a band that we're looking for? Or are you just kind of focusing on, like you said with the Winslows, just like getting some tracks down, but focusing on gigging just to kind of get yourselves out there?
I think as it stands now, I think we just are finding our feet a little bit with regards. I mean, my overall issue with music in general is that there's a surplus of it. There's an overpopulation. I mean, especially in fucking London or Liverpool or Manchester, the places where are supposed to be, you know, iconic.
Yeah, of course.
The music, there's a surplus. There's too much. You know, there is too much, and with too much, you get too much good and too much bad, and they all cancel each other out.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you go on TikTok now and it's fucking check out my new single, or you know, all this stuff, which is not bad. It's promotion in itself. But what I'm trying to say is, there's too much out there that people don't put enough thought into. You know, they just cram everything they can out in hopes of becoming number one, and none of us are like that. You know, I think we focus on quality more than quantity. We want the fucking songs to be good, man.
Well, I think I think good publicity and everything comes with that if you solely focus as artists on the music and you put everything you can into making sure that these songs are good, even if somebody listens to them and thinks that they're shit, as long as all of you have sat down and you're all happy with what these you have made. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, I can say for a fact.
It's weird. I'm looking forward more to the negative comments about the single, because to me it's perfect. You know, this song is perfect. To us, I think it's perfect, and we wouldn't put anything out less. So it's interesting to see what other people say, you know, especially the negative comments, because what one person receives as perfect, the other receives as absolute shit on your shoe, you know, and that really interests me.
Well, yeah, I think it's you can obviously take it as constructive criticism, and like even if somebody comments, "Oh, that guitar riff's absolutely shit," like, do you know what I mean? It's a really, I've never thought of anything that way, to be fair, Rhys, when you say that. I think it's perfect, so I'm excited to hear what people think is shit about it. I think that's actually quite a really good way of looking at it, in my opinion, definitely. Are you planning on releasing anything solo? Like, is that something that you ever want to do? Because obviously the I can't remember the name of the track that you sent me. You sent me two. The second one, was it Soul Sister? Is that what it was called? Something like
that. What, the Winslows one?
Yeah, the two unreleased ones that you sent me. The second one that was just just you like performing.
Yeah, that's called Sister Soul.
Sister Soul. That's it. Soul. What the fuck am I talking about? That track, like, with you saying that was just you. Obviously, I've not heard a lot, but that track especially, I thought was fantastic. So, do you ever plan to work on your own stuff just by yourself?
Yeah, man, I hope so. I mean, I'm a bit of a. If anyone from the old band watches this, they'll completely agree when I say I'm a control freak. You know, I'm an absolute knob. It's a bit, especially in the studio, with not so much rehearsals. You know, when it comes to, like I said, everyone puts in their own 2 pence when it comes to the band and the music. But I go all scatty, not like kick off, as in I like structural. Like, if I've got something in my head, I want to hear what it sounds like before we start changing it. Do you know what I mean? It makes you sound like a right con right now, but.
Actually, not as much as you'd think you would. I understand them. I understand where you're coming from. I really do.
If it was my own stuff, I think it'd shock people with regards to, say, if I were to multi-track it and do the drums and stuff and the bass and stuff. I think it'd surprise people as to how different it sounds.
Yeah.
To anything else, but I love that. You know, that's why I haven't released anything else, because I love the fact that, you know, on any Winslows track, any Gibbons song, any Faith State song, any Miss Avell song, there's other people on it, you know, and I love that, because it just sounds harmonious to me, because I don't think anything, I mean, excluding people like Elliott Smith and Nick Drake and stuff, you know, when they do their own thing and they multi-track it and it's beautiful and it's, you know, the best thing ever. I think with me, I will do my own thing one day, and it will just be me, like a little solo project thing. But for now, I'm happy having, you know, every man and his dog.
Well, the way that comes across to me is you enjoy. Even though you've just said that, like, when you're in the studio, you feel like the way that you think of everybody's ideas is completely different to the way they think of it. But even you saying that, it does show that you do enjoy working with other people creatively. Even, I mean,
it's a good thing, you know. When I say I think of something, and then like RTJ will say something completely left of field, and it fucking works, and it works better than the thing I was thinking. That's what I mean. And I get scatty, and he'll get scatty about it, like, not scatty as in like shit, as in like scatty as in, you know, like freaking out about how the tone needs to be up a bit, or the volume needs to be down, or the gain needs to be up, and soak it and reverb. Like, when you get hyper about stuff, I get excited.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, anyone in the Winslows will definitely back that. They'll probably say I'm a right knobhead. But there you go.
Well, I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to you, and that's why I wanted to speak to you today, especially obviously because I don't want to say know you all. Me and you have spoken over the years, but I know of you all, and I've followed you from the start, definitely. But But yeah, my last question. Actually, well, no, it's not my last question. It's my second to last question. You mentioned on that headliner that he's doing. Is there any other gigs or projects that you want to promote? Anything that's coming up?
Not as of yet. We've got about 5-6 booked in for next year, but I'm not allowed to talk about
it's
them.
too early.
Not that it's anything mysterious. I'm just not. I don't want to give false promises.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Everything's subject to change at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rhys, thank you so much for your time, man. My last question is a question that I plan to ask everybody I bring on this podcast with, musician-wise anyway. If you could perform, this is such a shit question, man, but I don't care. If you could perform with any artist dead or alive, who would you perform with and why?
This is just me, yeah?
Yeah, just you, yeah.
God, that's fucking hard, Lewis. You should have messaged me that before.
Yes. Messaged that a week ago to give you a bit of time to think on it.
Yeah. At the top of my head, it would either be. Can I give three? Because I've got
three's
three.
fine. Three's fine.
I've either got John Lennon. Is a specific gig. John Lennon did one in I think it's Madison Square in London in the 70s. With the Plastic Ono band, and it's
God.
they've not rehearsed, and they go on and they go, we're gonna play a fucking couple covers because we haven't played together ever, and it's like Clapton's on the guitar and all that stuff. Like you got Yoko banging on a fucking bongo.
She's like throwing a triangle in the corner or something.
Yeah, having a sing song,
playing with a fucking shoelaces.
I'd love to be a part of The Fall. You were one of my favourite bands. The Fall. Ever listened to The Fall?
I've never even heard of them, to be honest. I don't know if that's
mate,
write that down. I'll do my
as soon as you hang up on this, fucking get on them, because
yeah,
I mean, they've got one of the largest discographies in like British history, but all of them are shit. Like they're the shittest band ever.
Yes.
Because I think they've had like something like 70 something members, but there's always been one guy, and it's Mark Smith, the frontman, who's dead now. But I'd love to play with The Fall, and the Pogues as well.
Yeah.
The late Shane McGowan. I'd love to play a fucking flute or something in the Pogues. But yeah, I mean, I know that's three answers. But
hey, well, maybe it'll be three for everybody else that I interview.
Yeah.
Honestly, Rhys, just me speaking as me, not anything to do with this podcast. Thank you so much for your time, man. I've been a massive fan of your bands. Obviously, the Winslows music since you started doing it in college. I think you were fucking brilliant. I'm really, really excited to see what you've got coming up with these lads in the Faith Estate. Obviously, all your socials and all their socials will be in the description. General YouTube bollocks and all that. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming. That's half an hour of your life you won't get back, but it's half an hour of my life that I've definitely enjoyed. So yeah, thank you very much, man.
I've wasted half an hour in worse ways.
Hey, there's worse things to do, I suppose. But yeah, man, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, Lewis. Thank you very much. Good luck with the podcast, man.
Thank you.